Hello, everyone. Dr. Jane here, and I am your favorite psychologist. The conversation we're going to be having in this video is brain chemistry, specifically neurotransmitters. We have lots of different types of chemicals in our bodies. We have enzymes, we have hormones, and so forth. And those chemicals are there to aid physiological processing. Now, when we're thinking about psychology, mood, behavior, emotions, and so forth, there are two big ones that we look at. We look at neurotransmitters and we look at hormones. And so the focus for this video is going to be our neurotransmitters. What are those things called neurotransmitters? They are chemicals that help neurons communicate, and they regulate everything from mood to muscle movement. Now, you see these weird looking thing here? These are neurons. These are nerve cells. And the proper term for our nerve cells are neurons. And we have two neurons here, one, two. The main function of our nervous system is to transmit information. That's one big function. The other big function of our nervous system, which is made up of neurons. So our neurons are the building block of our nervous system. And it has three big functions. One is to transmit messages. So that's one. The other big one is it takes in message from the outside through our senses, takes it inside, send it to the brain. The brain integrates that information, and the brain says, oh, it's such and such. And then the brain determines and decides what it's going to do and how you're going to respond. And so the integration of sensory information, that's another big job of the nervous system. And then for movement, and it allows for you to go and walk wherever you want to walk, or for our autonomic nervous system, for like breathing, heartbeat, and so forth, right? Now, our neurotransmitters, we find them in this space in between two neurons. So neuron 1, neuron 2. And here, this is a big picture of what is happening in this space here. This space, we call it a synapse. And the synapse is a space between two neurons. Now, normally, two neurons, they don't touch. They're there, just hanging out until a message passes, and then the message is there, and the message needs to go to this neuron here. And so you have the neurotransmitters in that little space in between that crosses over. And so there is a slight connection for a fraction of a millisecond, but they don't ever physically touch each other. Now, you have your neurotransmitters, goes to the vesicles, it is released into the synaptic cleft here, moves into the receiving neurons, to the and then we have the diffusion process, and then the degradation, and then it degrades. That's it. And the message keeps going through the receiving neuron to the next one, right? Very important. Neurotransmitters does a lot for us. But in psychology, we're absolutely thinking about the critical role it plays in our mental health, the stability of our mental health, and our emotional balance. A lot of our psychiatric medications recreational drugs work by altering neurotransmitters activity in order to aid and promote healthy neurotransmitter functioning. We can do it with regular exercise, regular sleep, and regular consistent social connection. We have different types of neurotransmitters in terms of categories. We have lots of types, but we have three big categories. And those big categories, neurotransmitters, one is our excitatory. And this is it promotes and increase the chance that the next neuron will fire and receive the message. Those are your glutamates and your adrenaline. Our inhibitory neurotransmitters, that slow things down. And it reduces the chance of the neuron kicking into action, or we call it firing. And it calms the system down. Those are our GABAs and our serotonins. Serotonin, sorry. Our modulatory, this is our fine-tuning neurotransmitters. Because sometimes you may have too much or too little, and we just need it to be stabilized. That is the job of our dopamine. Now we have different types of neurons, and though these different types are placed in different categories, right? Whether they're inhibitory, excitatory, or modulatory. How do these neurotransmitters show up in our daily lives? Huge. The first one we have here is the dopamine. This is our reward chemical. When we're celebrating our wins, this is our feel-good neurotransmitters. We're eating some good food. We got some good sleep. Listening to music, achieving our goal. Our dopamine, this is part of our reward system. Our bodies have its own reward system. And the dopamine promotes that reward system. And so it is important when you're raising children to celebrate the wins. Good job. They did good on a test, or they did good on a task or whatever. And so that they experience appropriate rewards here. Because if they have these rewards that are just insane, then it's difficult to top that the next time, right? And so we have to regulate that reward system early and keep it regulated. This is also why it is important to have children in stable, loving environments. The next neurotransmitter is oxytocin. Very big deal. Oxytocin can behave as a hormone and as a neurotransmitter. Oxytocin is what we consider to be our bonding chemical. It is there when we bond in relationships. It doesn't matter the type of relationships, but it is there to promote bonding between friends, bonding in romantic relationships, bonding between parent and child. This is our bonding relationship. And it is created when a person play with their pets, when we're spending time with friends, when we're helping other people, when we're giving compliments, when we're hugging someone we love, when we're holding hands. The oxytocin is there, and it's called a love hormone, right? It is there to promote bonding, but it acts as both a hormone and a neurotransmitter. The next one is our serotonin. This is our mood stabilizer. It calms things down and it keeps things as mellow um, as possible. So it is released when we're meditating. It is released when we take deep breaths. So we take deep breaths and we have that boost of serotonin so that it stabilizes our moods. Um, Getting some sunlight, walking in nature, positive thinking, and exercising, so running, we get this, you know, release of serotonin that promotes the stabilization of our mood. And the last one is endorphin. This is our pain reliever. And we get endorphins when we're laughing. We release endorphins. Exercising, when we're stretching, when we're watching comedy, right? When we're being creative, we also have release of endorphins. And when we're eating dark chocolate, we have more examples of neurotransmitters. And that last slide talked about neurotransmitters in terms of our emotions and our emotional regulation and our psychology. This slide, I wanted to just address a couple more in terms of learning, memory, and so forth. This one here, our noradrenaline, this is there for concentration. It allows us to focus. It allows us to give attention to a task. Very important when we are just living our lives in general. Acetylcholine, this one here in the blue, this is there for learning. It is what allows us to conceptualize ideas and thoughts. It is what is there for aids us in memory and recollection of memory and consolidation of memory, and therefore learning. Okay, glutamate, another big one for memory. Very, very big deal. The other one that I wanted to talk about on this slide is adrenaline. This is our fight or flight, and it's really there for our safety. So fight, freeze. As we are navigating our world, and it's a self-protection mechanism that our body have. So when we are thinking about these neurotransmitters, the same way how living in trauma, especially for a child, where the child is living in chaos and living in confusion and living in conflict, the same way that environment have the potential to affect the size of the brain as well as the architecture of the brain, it also have the potential of influencing how much of these neurotransmitters the child will make or not produce, because then it is ultimately affecting the nervous system. And these neurotransmitters are produced within the nervous system. And so it is so important that we raise our children in as stable of an environment as we can, with as minimum chaos and if possible, no chaos, and that our environment is stable, it is without chaos, it is without confusion, and it is without conflict. Please, it is so important for our children to experience that all the time. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. If you have stories with regards to parental betrayal, you're not grown at 18, as I'm building this channel, And I want to be able to talk about those things from a psychological perspective and to be able to anchor the commentary in theory and psychological principles. Again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Jane. I am your favorite psychologist. Please email me at parentalbetrayal500@gmail.com. Again, my name is Dr. Jane, and I am your favorite psychologist.